Happy noon. I'm Ellen O'Shaughnessy, coordinator of Conversations and Coffee. So happy to have you all with us in this transitional day of, now what season are we in? Spring? Wow. When are we going to have a day that reflects spring?
We had our last Friday.
When?
Last Friday.
Last Friday. Ah, no, Michael, we got to go into the future now. What are you going to say?
3 weeks. No.
Ah, well, someone said, live in Ohio and you'll get all 4 seasons in a month. And I was thinking, isn't that what Mark Twain said about New England once upon a time? I think so. But we're doing it, aren't we? And we're going to be reflecting about whatever that is around the seasons. I was sharing with Fred that I feel as though I have about all of the seasons of my life in what I'm going through as, now we not only have snow, here we go. Now let's get some. And this is reflective of what I was going to say. All the seasons in one. When something happens to cause time to evaporate. And I was sharing with Fred, thank you, Michael, that in December, we had 3 people, workers, possibly called, I call them stooges, who burned our house with their tools. I was working on my computer, and I heard one of them call, "Do you have a hose?" And the flames were rushing up the stairs and into the foyer of the house. And I said to Fred, "Does that call me to the passion of writing?" And he said, especially in the waiting of the disputatio with insurance companies, restoration people, and it calls one to the present moment, which is a precious gift. All of you here with Fred. Fred Andrle, who was our radio WOSU talk host for 20 plus years. And as I said, Fred, how did you come to this? Well, 5th grade. What happened in the 5th grade that you would be called to be a poet?
That's lost in the mists of time, I'm afraid. I just started writing poetry, I don't know, but there it was.
There it was. And who discovered that? Was that a teacher? You were the discoverer of it.
In fact, I got a story with a teacher. I was in the 5th grade, and this teacher said to us, "Now you all have 10 minutes to write a poem, and then you're going to go in front of the 4th grade and recite the poem." 10 minutes later, I didn't have a poem. I just couldn't think of one in 10 minutes. So she said, "You're going to have to stand in front of the 4th grade, and I'm going to tell them all that you don't have a poem," which she made me do. Maybe that's why I wrote poetry, just out of revenge, spirit of revenge for over some years.
That's a great story. Oh, but speaking of disputatio and agere contra, you are here as our poet, and you studied history, and as you studied history, you evolved from what, Canisius College to
Stanford University for a master's.
Stanford for a master's.
Yeah.
And that master's was in
Communication, radio, television, yeah.
And then you got a job with WOSU
Television for 5 or 6 years, had a television talk show. then decided I didn't want to do that anymore, went out west in my van and spent a month out visiting friends, and they called me back in 1986 or something and said, hey, would you sit in on the talk show for a few weeks, but since you're sitting in, we can't hire you, because you'll be sitting in, you'll have an advantage over everybody else will have heard you, so we can't hire you. But luckily, Howard Ornstein was the program director. I don't know if you remember Howard, he was a news guy. And he went up to the elite general manager and said, I want to hire this guy. We've heard about it, I want to hire him. Dale said, it's on you. If you hire this guy, you live with it, because we don't want to hire him because he was hurt already. It's an unfair advantage. Howard hired me, and every time I see Howard, he's in Phoenix now, I say, hey, thank you for my career.
Wonderful, and for your career as well. You're into haiku poetry right now. And you can see on the back of the card that's around the room this exquisite.
That is a short haiku poem on the back, and it is the title of my book that will be coming out in September, of all haiku. So, rocking in the cradle of the moment.
Well, that is good. That is wonderful. Well, take it away, Fred. Thank you.
Thank you all, I appreciate it. Good to be back. For those of you who haven't got them, we've got some, they may be a little water, but Jean, they're in front of you, and if we could send them down. This is a list of some of the poems we're going to do today, and we may not get to all of them, but maybe we could pass them out to the folks in the back chairs that didn't get any. And this is an idea of some of the poems I've been reading, mostly by other people, not my own. Then you have a pattern in front of you, and maybe you have some pens, and for those of you sitting in the back, we'll get pens to you when we're ready, because we're going to do a writing exercise like we've done before, after I read just a little while. So, and all those things. You're going to do it?
I don't think I can do it.
But to begin, I would say, don't let this moment pass unattended. Not this one. Don't let the spring moon march down the sky alone. An owl is calling from a far oak branch. She is calling you. Don't let the river journey unaccompanied. Put aside your thoughts. Let your mind ripple like the river. The sun will be waking. He will require your presence for his long, high arc in tribute to the earth. Don't let the lark take wing. Without your witness, she will fall. If you, godlike, avert your eyes, she will never sing again if you are unwilling to listen. Don't let any single moment lose your attention. If you turn away, all creation will fail. And when you return, you will wonder why you, like the falling spring moon, are completely alone. So that's just a poem that I wrote that just reminds me to stay, quote, in the moment. I know it's a cliche, it's really hard to do. I have a continuing monologue going in my head about all the things that are wrong with my life or right with my life or all the Fantasy Academy Awards I'd win, but if I can stay right in the moment, and the National Book Awards, but if I can stay right in the moment, I'm better off. If we can stay right in the moment, we can really enjoy that moment. There's a poet from Ohio who now teaches at Western Washington University. He's James Bertolino. It's got a lovely little poem called Home in Ohio. How difficult to say anything simply, to utter, I am happy. I am. The street, a wonder of sunlight and leaves, the cats so present in their grace. The kids play base hit with a red beach ball. One 12-year-old cartwheels home, blonde hair fanning like light off the sink. The tallest trees never heard the word achievement, and beyond the hill, the muddy, slow river arrives and arrives. James Bertolino, Home in Ohio, just to be happy. On the other hand, we could obsess over things and worry. Mary Oliver, you know Mary Oliver, she was born in Ohio. She's a best-selling poet now nationally for many, many years. And she lives in, I think, Provincetown, Massachusetts. And this poem is called I Worried. I worried a lot. Will the garden grow? Will the rivers flow in the right direction? Will the earth turn as it was taught? And if not, how shall I correct it? Was I right? Was I wrong? Will I be forgiven? Can I do better? Will I ever be able to sing? Even the sparrows can do it, and I'm pretty hopeless. Is my eyesight fading, or am I just imagining it? Am I going to get rheumatism, lockjaw, dementia? Finally, I saw that worrying came to nothing, and gave it up, and took my old body and went out into the morning and sang. That sounds like the right thing to do, Mary Oliver. There's a book called Worry. I'm trying to think of the name of the author. He's a psychologist, and he said, take out your worries and give yourself a 10-minute segment every day when you think about your worries, and then after that, dismiss them. And he says you will worry less. I don't know. Doesn't work for me. Rita Dove was a poet laureate from the United States, and she's from Akron. And she's a singer and cellist as well. And she teaches now in Charlottesville, Virginia. She's got a poem that I think is very encouraging called Dawn Revisited. Imagine you wake up with a second chance. The blue jayhawks, his pretty wares, and the oak still stands, spreading glorious shade. If you don't look back, the future never happens. How good to rise in sunlight and the prodigal smell of biscuits, eggs, and sausage on the grill. The whole sky is yours to write on, blown open to a blank page. Come on, shake a leg. You'll never know who's down there frying those eggs if you don't get up and see. That's reminds me of a military guy. If you don't get up and see, you'll never know who's down there frying those eggs. A military guy, and I said, the first thing you do every morning, make your bed. Then take the first step, then praise the day. So the haiku I wrote was make the bed, make the bed, take the step, praise the day. Because I find I do, if I make the bed in the morning, depending on who gets up first, myself or my partner, the last one is charged with that. Then I get going, I just make the bed. If you don't get up, and you'll never know who's down there frying those eggs if you don't get up and see. This is a short poem by William Carlos Williams that I know you know. I'm sure you know this poem. But I just love it. It's so nice. So much depends upon a red wheelbarrow glazed with the rainwater beside the white chickens. I'll read that again. So much depends upon a red wheelbarrow glazed with rainwater beside the white chickens. And I guess that which means to me, that's another poem to me about being present. So much depends on my ability to see that, to feel that, and not let all my thoughts and worries get in the way. So much depends upon a red wheelbarrow glazed with rainwater beside the white chickens. As I get older, I like more and more silence. I used to get up in the morning and turn the radio on. Well, I work in radio, I had to listen. But now I don't. I like to keep it on. I like everything quiet. I like everything silent. So this is a poem by Billy Collins. Billy Collins was the poet laureate for a couple of years. And he's not an academic. An academician said, he's not really a poet. He's not academic enough for us. And he came to town once, and a friend of mine, the poet Jerry Roscoe, said to him, how do you feel about an academician saying you're not really a poet? And he said, how many books do they sell? He's a million-selling poet. He's a wonderful poet. He's a wonderful poet. And this poem by Billy Collins is called Silence. Now it is time to say what you have to say. The room is quiet. The whirring fan has been unplugged. And the girl who is tapping a pencil on her desktop has been removed. So tell us what is on your mind. We want to hear the sound of your foliage, the unraveling of your toolkit, your songs of loneliness, your songs of hurt. The trains are motionless on the tracks. The ships at rest in the harbor. The dogs are cocking their heads and the gods are peering down from their balloons. The town is hushed and everyone has a copy. So tell us about your parents, your father behind the steering wheel, your cruel mother at the sink. Let's hear about all the clouds you saw, all the trees. Read the poem you brought with you tonight. The ocean has stopped sloshing around, and even Beethoven is sitting up in his deathbed, his cold hearing horn inserted in one ear. So it's a poem about silence and about being ready to talk about your hurts and loneliness, which we all have. I was surprised to read a column in the New York Times. A psychologist did a survey. It says 30% of Americans say that from time to time they're lonely. That's a big deal in terms of their medical history, that they're lonely. 30% of Americans, wow. Here's a memory poem. Maybe you had a library like this. I grew up in Buffalo, New York, and we had a library called the Fairfield Library. And it looked just like this one. And this is a poem by Gerald Stern, a poet from Pittsburgh. It's called Stepping Out of Poetry. See if you remember this time in your life with your library. What would you give for one of those old yellow streetcars rocking towards you again through the thick snow? What would you give for the feeling of joy as you climbed up the 3 iron steps and took your place by the cold window? Or what would you give to pick up your stack of books and walk down the icy path in front of the library? What would you give for your dream to be as clear and simple as it was then in the dark afternoons at the old scarred tables? Yeah, what would you give? What would you give for one of the old yellow streetcars rocking towards you again through the thick snow? What would you give for the feeling of joy as you climbed up the 3 iron steps and took your place by the cold window? What would you give to pick up your stack of books and walk down the icy path to the library? What would you give for your dream to be as clear and simple as it was then in the dark afternoons at the old scarred tables? Gerald Stern. I don't want to be too long before we get to you and your writing, which is going to be coming up. We'll do a 10-minute writing exercise. But there's a couple here. Raymond Carver is a short story writer. He lived from 1938 to 1988, and maybe you remember some of his short stories. One of his big collections was Cathedral, it was called Cathedral, but he also writes wonderful poetry, and this is just called Happiness. I mean, I feel almost, I selected so many poems today because of the antidote to what's going on in the world around us, you know? I mean, it's just so, the wars, the killing, it's just so awful. I was watching West Wing, remember the old television series, and I found myself tearful over some of the episodes, and I said, why is this? And it's because, well, you can guess, things are awful. Happiness by Raymond Carver, Happiness. So early, it's still almost dark out, and near the window with coffee, and the usual early morning stuff that passes for thought. When I see the boy and his friend walking up the road to deliver the newspaper. They wear caps and sweaters, and one boy has a bag over his shoulder. They're so happy, they're not saying anything, these boys. I think if they could, they would take each other's arm. It's early in the morning, and they're doing this thing together. They come on slowly. The sky is taking on light, though the moon still hangs pale over the water. Such beauty that for a minute, death and ambition, even love, doesn't enter into this. Happiness, it comes on unexpectedly and goes beyond really any early morning talk about it. Yeah, Raymond Carver. I sometimes read poems twice because I just think sometimes, you know, I don't get it in the first time. So early it's almost dark out. I'm near the window with coffee and the usual early morning stuff that passes for thought. When I see the boy and his friend walking up the road to deliver the newspaper, they wear caps and sweaters, and one boy has a bag over his shoulder. They are so happy. They're not saying anything, these boys. I think if they could, they would take each other's arm. It's early in the morning, and they're doing this thing together. They come on slowly. The sky is taking on light, though the moon still hangs pale over the water. Such beauty that for a minute, death and ambition, even love doesn't enter into this. Happiness, it comes on unexpectedly and goes beyond really any early morning talk about it. Raymond Carver, Happiness. Stephen Kowit, K-O-W-I-T, San Diego poet, wrote this poem several years ago. It's called Notice. This evening, the sturdy Levi's I wore every day for over a year and which seemed to end in perfect condition suddenly tore. How or why, I don't know, but there was a big rip at the crotch. A month ago, my friend Nick walked off a racquetball court, showered, got into his street clothes, and halfway home collapsed and died. Take heed, you who read this, to drop to your knees now and again, like the poet Christopher Smart, and kiss the earth and be joyful, and make much of your time, and be kindly to everyone, even to those who do not deserve it. For although you may not believe it will happen, you too will one day be gone. I, whose Levi's ripped at the crotch for no reason, assure you that such is the case. Pass it on. That's Stephen Cowett, and in December 2015, Stephen died. He's just reminding us once again, hey, you know, this is it. Let's take advantage of the moment. Let's be here. Remember the old Ram Dass? Was it Ram Dass, Be Here Now? That book from the 60s, do you remember that? I'm not sure. Be Here Now. Well, before we go to our writing exercise, which is you will star in this writing exercise, I wanted to read a couple of the haiku I've been writing. And they're so short. Haiku is 3 lines generally. They originated in Japan, and the great haiku masters are Japanese. And they used to be 5 syllables, 7 syllables, 5 syllables. You might have been taught that in school. No more. We blasted that away, we English haiku writers. And they're 3 lines. Sometimes they're 2 lines, sometimes they're 1 line. They're generally no more than 17 syllables, but forget the 5, 7, and 5. We decided 40 years ago that we didn't want to do that anymore. Okay. So let me read, and I'll read each one of them twice because I think they bear a little. Her father's old binoculars, the autumn stars. Her father's old binoculars, the autumn stars. Relaxing in the bliss of self-acceptance. Relaxing in the bliss of self-acceptance. Huge bumblebee chasing you, you think. Huge bumblebee chasing you, you think. Desert night, a falling star fades into silence. Desert night, a falling star fades into silence. Little snake, the roadway claimed, golden flies attending. Little snake, the roadway claimed, golden flies attending. The alligator does not ponder vegetarianism. Joke haiku. Bolton in the White House, devil in the details. Political haiku. Bolton in the White House, devil in the details. Springtime carousel, the melody of horses. Springtime carousel, the melody of horses. I will bury you, sweetheart, or you will bury me. Autumn turns winter. I will bury you, sweetheart, or you will bury me. Autumn turns winter. It's a tough one. Dragons of my youth, now silent metaphors. Dragons of my youth, now silent metaphors. Little fly, too swift to trap. Mi casa tu casa. Little fly, too swift to trap. Mi casa tu casa. If you turn away when I speak my truth, I'll become once again the flowers. If you turn away when I speak my truth, I'll become once again the flowers. So those are some of the haiku I've been writing. Now it's your turn. And the idea here is we're going to take about 10 minutes, and in front of you, and for those of you sitting in the back, we'll get you some. There's a pad, and we have some pencils if you don't have a pen with you, and we'll get you and Ellen's back there passing it out right now. We're going to get you the little pads, and you can keep the pads as souvenirs if you'd like it. If you need a pencil, we got those too. The idea is just to write for 10 minutes and see what comes up. And you're not writing to impress anybody or yourself. You're just writing to see what comes out. It could be something short. It could be something longer. And after we take 10 minutes to write, we'll have a choice. We can share it with everyone here if you choose, or keep it to yourself if you don't want to share it, and that's fine too. Either way is fine. But it just gives you a chance to write. maybe for some of you, this could start a writing habit. Because I think writing is very therapeutic. You'd be surprised at the emotions that can come up for you and the revelations about yourself when you write. And it may have nothing to do with sharing it with the poem with anybody else or getting published or anything like that. It's just for you. The writing is just for you, first of all. And then maybe you will choose to share it. Maybe someday you want to get it published. But it doesn't matter. It's for you. So just start writing. Whatever comes into your mind, whether it's a poem, whether it's prose, doesn't matter what you call it. And we'll time it out at 10 minutes. And then after the 10 minutes, I'll ask if some of you would like to share. And if you do, that's fine. If you don't, that's fine. But you'll have something to go home with. Don't have a blank paper. I write every day for a little while, and I don't let myself have a blank paper, even if it's nonsense. If I think it's nonsense, I write it down anyway. And maybe it's not nonsense after all. Maybe later on you'll think it's really good. Okay, so let's start at 10 minutes right now.
You sure you don't want to write?
for 2 minutes or so. Okay, so let's see. Now you have a poem or something that you wrote. It could be a poem or a piece of prose, or it doesn't matter. Something you're happy with, or something you're not terribly happy with right now, but might be happier with later when you look at it a little later on. I think that often happens with writing or poetry. You know, you look at something and say, oh, I don't know if I like this that much, but then later on you say, oh, there's something here. There's something here. So now you have something. Would anyone like to share? And I can't bring the microphone because I think we're going to get feedback. So if I do in front of the speaker, so if you talk really loudly, would you like to share something you've written?
I can take it around here, Fred. I
Sorry?
can take it around here if you want. The microphone.
Okay.
For, you know.
You're not going to get any
I'll
feedback
just go
from the
around.
speaker? Okay.
Need the-
Hopefully that will.
Sometimes that is hard to hear.
You got 2 volunteers right away. Yes.
All right, here you go.
Just start writing, he said. Easier said than done, because where do I start? Do I vent my intense feelings about the political situation, even if that puts a knot in my stomach? Do I complain about the winter weather we're having in April? Do I scold myself for not yet having lost the 2 pounds I gained on the cruise? Or do I just set all that aside and be grateful that I was able to get out of bed this morning, complete my routine chores with ease, and head off to a great day among friends? Plan B it is.
All right. Plan B.
Hard time parking this morning?
Oh, yeah, I should have put that in.
Okay, I just wrote. Memories of times past, days of vision, days of unrest, regrets of indiscretions, regrets of insensitivities.
People wanting to hear you.
I can't.
Okay,
Is that better?
That's good.
Now I have to say it again. Memories of times past, days of vision, days of unrest, regrets of indiscretions, regrets of insensitivities, making amends in my mind and my heart. Who hears? Who forgives deeds that can't be undone? There are good memories, joyful memories, oh, that they could be shared. On another day, I am thankful for all that is and all there was. I am shaped by my experiences and am a better person. I have endured and enjoyed. Life is good when I stay in the present, but oh, those memories of times past creep in.
Very nice. Thankful. Thankful for all that is and all there was, right? And when we stay in the present, a lot of that evaporates, right? Great. All right.
I'll give you a short.
Over here, we have a couple
I think we're
volunteers.
gonna be okay.
Not be here up Blair.
These are just, a couple of short, silly ones. It says,
Nice and loud into that
can you
microphone.
hear me?
Beautiful.
Who knows? Not me. a poet I am not. I'd rather be etching, but I'll give it a shot. That's fine.
I want to do that again, just like Fred says, sometimes read it twice.
Yeah, read it twice.
I'm
sure.
sorry, what?
Read it twice.
Read it again? Okay. Who knows? Not me. A poet I am not. I'd rather be etching, but I'll give it a shot.
Great.
And the second one is, here we all are, quietly in thought, trying to stir the poetry pot.
Let's get Gene up here. Raise your hand a long time ago. We can see it.
I think about daily getting older. I have more memory than future.
That's it. You all think about getting older. That's how the clock is running down, right?
Haiku, my cue to slow down thought.
Read that again.
Haiku, my cue to slow down thought.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Painting a leg, a pant leg, blue, black, white, a triangle, a stripe. What's in the shadow? Why does that fold shine? Where's the knee? The fold at the ankle.
Oh.
The next one is hum of the fan, whisper of pencil, click, creaking floor, crumpled paper. What images, what secrets?
What images, what secrets? All right.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I think we'll pass it here, and then we'll go back. Yeah.
I got two. The natural light through the window and
You want to hold that up? Now we need to hear it a little better.
like this.
Yeah, there you go.
The natural light through the window and the luminescent light of the ceiling. The competition of the eternal and temporary as a spark of life in the universe. That's the first one. And second, kind of just today's experience. Yard working. It's spring, not winter. And I got a splinter. Was hurting so bad and I was mad. When it was taken out, I got it a loud shout, just as I did as it was out.
All right.
I've always believed that there's one poem in all of us. This one, when I was 17, my father died, and I went back to New York to the funeral, and after the funeral I went out to the house that we lived in when my folks were divorced, and I wrote this. Casa Antigua. An ancient house stands high upon a hill. From it the voices of children no longer shrill. Beaten by storms, wind and rain, its once lustrous color has turned to gray. The grass upon which the children once played has wilted and died forever away. The trees which once shaded the lawn have died and are forever gone. If love within this house had remained, this house would still be my father's domain.
Rhyme is a very nice thing to